Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching, always encouraging your self-reliance. If you develop a marketable skill, chase that skill with a good work ethic, develop some people and teamwork skills, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish in this country. A big thank you to over 500 people who have subscribed to this channel and over 25,000 have actually viewed it. I really, really appreciate it. I have a phenomenal story to share here, which is absolutely amazing. My good friend, Amy Reinert, is going to share her story along with Neil Weinberg on a kidney donation that she gave to him and a kidney transplant. So Amy, let me start with you first and tell us about how you guys got connected here, and then we'll bounce it back and forth. Great having you guys.
Thanks for having us.
So how did this get rolling, Amy? How did you guys first connect?
Well, I was honestly just on Facebook scrolling through the different, messages from people. And normally you like it, you comment, or you share or move on from it. And I saw this post from this guy that I've known in Express Employment Professionals franchise, and he works for Express Corporate in California. I know I met him a couple of times, but I didn't know him. And Brett shared that him and his father, it was a picture of him and his father, and that his dad was in need. And I didn't even know what it was for, but I just saw O positive. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm O positive, but I don't even know. And I just felt compelled, like I couldn't get past it. I just felt the Holy Spirit was telling me like I needed to do this, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but I couldn't get past it. And I just felt this overwhelming feeling that I needed to help this person. And then I shared it, and I messaged his son, and I said, hey, do you have anybody that's donating? And then I realized it was for his kidney. He had 2 deemed failed kidneys, and I said, I feel God's leading me to do this. And then I just started the process. And this was back in September or October of last year that I saw the post. And then right away, I started contacting Rochester Strong Memorial to see what I needed to do to donate my kidney.
Incredible, incredible. Ironically, I am from Rochester, New York. I'm very familiar with Strong Memorial Hospital and its phenomenal reputation. So Neil, when you received this news that you may had a potential transplant donor here, what was your thoughts or reaction?
Well, I got to go backwards a little and say that I've had a kidney problem for 35 years, but never any issue whatsoever. I worked out, I did anything I wanted, but the last couple of years, the signs were telling me that I was facing dialysis and a transplant, and I've been on dialysis for the last year and a half, and knowing I needed a transplant, all my kids and siblings were tested. None of them qualified, but ironically, my wife qualified. And we were set to have a transplant this past spring with her being the donor. But with her being the donor and me the recipient, the recovery period for the two of us would have been very, very difficult. And we were all set up to have in-house nursing and the whole works. And then my son, who's in LA and works for a company that has offices all over the country, and that's how he and Amy connected. And it was just a fluke how that happened. And I remember, I think the Thursday before New Year's, my wife came up to the bedroom at 8:45 and woke me up, and she's sobbing. And she tells me the story, we have a donor. And it was that young lady that's involved with this conversation. And we were both just speechless. And to have this happen in the fashion that it happened, now I got goosebumps again and the tears. But it was beyond a blessing, beyond, and I'm glad you can't see me right now because I've got a little bit of shakes and a little bit of tears, but that's normal with what went on. But very blessed for this to have occurred that way. And really what's unbelievable is the transplant team there is phenomenal. The post-surgical team is incredible. And when they ask me the story, they always say, do you have a living donor, a family member, or a cadaver? When I tell them a story about how Amy and I connected, it's even there and they're overwhelmed. So it's quite a blessing, I must say, and I can't stop saying that.
Sure, sure. No, that's pretty amazing. Can between the two of you, can you kind of share? Obviously, Amy, you're O positive. I happen to be O positive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Neil and I would be a match. So, what else do they have to match up besides the blood type?
Well, I think it's besides being what type of shape you're in. It was a very, I thought it was a long process, but it really was like probably one of the quickest processes, to be honest. One was obviously the blood type, but O positive, I believe, is like universal with some of the to be a donor.
Yes.
But it has to be, you have to be at certain levels. One with your kidney, your liver functions, your your blood type, your how your health is overall, just everything all around. I had to go to Rochester locally for blood work in October. Then I went in around Thanksgiving. I went to go. You have like a whole day of education, then you have a whole day of like EKGs and ultrasounds and blood work and very extensive tests. And then they came back saying that I was a match. So that was pretty awesome. And as he mentioned, his family members and a lot of other people, went in and they just, unfortunately, sometimes you're not a direct match, which means you can't give to that, specific person, but you may be able to be a donor for somebody indirectly, which is still helping them. And I think it puts them higher, I believe, on the list.
Sure, sure. Well, what's interesting too, Neil, and I've known Amy a long time, and believe me, you hit the lotto with her because this lady is the Energizer Bunny. She is has literally unlimited energy and everything like that. She's always been. In the years I've known her, a total crackerjack as far as her optimism and everything like that. So from your perspective, Neil, go ahead and share that part, okay? As far as the the donor connection.
Yeah. I still remember when we first met, Amy, where my wife dropped me off at the hospital, and she was going to park the car, and I turned around, and all of a sudden I see a hotel shuttle come and drop off Amy, and I looked at the two of them hugging and sobbing away. It was an unbelievable scene.
Yeah, I can't imagine, the joy and everything like that. Now, what was your Neil? What was your family's reaction to finding a donor?
Oh my! How do I describe that one? They were speechless. All I know is my kids now know they have another sister, and they're just overwhelmed. I mean, the best story is when my son from LA had to go to Florida. Amy, I think it was the week after surgery, wasn't it?
A week and a half, yep.
Yep. And then my son Brett and Amy connected, and the pictures that they sent back with the two of them, it was just so heartwarming. And then the speech that was made during the lunch, everything is just overwhelming, over the top. You don't hear about things like this. I can't tell you how blessed I am.
Well, certainly no question about that, Neil. And Amy, let me flip it around the other way. And you pretty much know everybody here in South Central Pennsylvania and beyond. What was the reaction to your friends, family, your contacts about, you going ahead and doing that? Because let's face it, that's a very courageous thing to do.
Well, it was something that I was just like, I knew it was from God and not me, because I hate to say I feel we're giving, but I mean, you don't normally just donate something. So I just felt it obviously was the Holy Spirit talking through me through the whole process, that it wasn't me. But I didn't tell my family. I told my husband right away, but I didn't tell my family because my dad was in very bad health and he was getting ready to pass away. And I just knew I needed to do this. So I didn't want to bother or stress my sisters out, or my mom, and my dad wasn't really aware of what was going on. And then my kids and everything, Rick knew not to mess with it. He's very big on following and asking the Holy Spirit to lead him and what to do. So he knew he wasn't messing with that. He knew, like, I'm supporting you. It was never a thought. But immediately after talking to them on the phone and building that relationship before we even went to Rochester, I just felt like they were family. We felt like they just took us in, and it was it's emotional now thinking and looking back, but we feel so close and connected. We text every couple of days, and we have a reunion in August, and hopefully they come up before them. But I mean, the experience, meeting them, having them as family, having the extended family, and then just the emotion of it is just overwhelming. It's so like, I know I gave a kidney, but I feel like we gained a whole entire family, and
Mhm.
it's just that experience has been amazing, and just really like, I can't put into words how emotional and how rewarding it is for us as well. So it's been awesome.
Sure, sure. And what, as far as, going down the road or the future, whatever, what advice, let's say if somebody else was in your scenario, obviously, Neil, you'd certainly want somebody else to have have a donor. But Amy, from your perspective, what is there any advice you would give to somebody, that think they hear this story and then they say, hey, maybe that's something that I could do as well. What thoughts or advice would you give? Because obviously we've got two kidneys, and just the idea that you can't donate a heart, obviously, but as far as a kidney, what thoughts or ideas might you have for somebody that might be thinking about doing this as well for somebody?
I think it's very common and easier when it has to do with a family member in need. I think it's very different. A lot of people are organ donors, but that's mainly if they're in an accident and they are ready to pass away, to be honest. Like, I'm an organ donor. I never thought about really donating until this, happened. I wouldn't have thought about it unless I was, you think at the end of your life, you're going to donate. I don't know if it's just seeking it out, and there's a lot of healthy people. It's a very easy thing to give. I mean, there is a longer recovery. But once you do it, and all the, saving someone's life, and like, I don't want to take the credit for that, because that seems very hard for me to think, oh, I saved someone's life. But I think it's very easy for someone, if they would donate and they would see that it wasn't a hard process, and what benefit you're giving someone and their way of life. And I just think that's amazing. If they would just educate themselves a little bit more on it, it would be awesome to have more donors.
Mhm. And Neil, how has this impacted you as far as how you feel, how your health is now that you've got this new kidney in you?
I'll tell you, I'm in shock myself because it's so good. My doctors are thrilled. I was going to the hospital twice a week and blood work twice a week for the first 3 or 4 weeks. And now my doctor's saying come once every other week. I had home care nursing come twice a week just for your, blood pressure and other tests and heart monitoring. And a week ago Friday, she says, you're done with me. And now I'm doing the blood work just once a week. I had a physical therapist come to the house. I think it was 3 weeks after surgery. He made me walk up and down my stairs a couple times, made me bend, stretch, move one arm this way, one arm that way. And he says, you don't need me here. Goodbye. So my point being is that after I got out of the hospital, my recovery was just like lightning. It's just every day it's better and better and better. And I have no complaints whatsoever with the progress, and nor do my physicians.
Well, that's just wonderful news. Amy and Neil, this has been fantastic. It's one of the most incredible stories. I did an interview with a lady named Becky Sieg, who received a heart at Johns Hopkins. Did an interview with her last year. And I mean, this story is, right up there with it, obviously. Any last second thoughts, Neil? I'll start with you first and then finish with Amy. Any last second thoughts that you have, Neil?
No, I can only tell you I'm so blessed, so excited, so thrilled. Anytime I talk to someone and they hear about my kidney, whether it's a neighbor or a friend or whomever I haven't talked to, I got 7 emails and calls from high school friends going back 55, 60 years ago. And I tell them the story, and of course, I crack up the minute I tell even a quasi stranger. But I don't know what to say. Amy, you're the best.
We would be in agreement with that, Neil, for sure. Okay. And Amy, your last second thoughts here?
I just think they're amazing. I'm so glad that the Holy Spirit was hounding me to do this, because otherwise, like, it would have to be like something striking me with lightning to actually follow the Spirit and to be able to do it. But I'm so blessed that he called upon me to do it, and for us to get to know Sandy and Neil and their whole family. We're just so truly blessed, and it's still so emotional for us because it's very overwhelming that you can't really put into words, but it's been amazing. So I'm very grateful for both of you and your family.
Thank
Well,
you.
this has been wonderful. Can both of you hang for a minute while after I cut the recording here?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, thanks. You guys were fantastic. Thank you so much.